Now, to get the webinar started, here is ABB General Product Manager, Dodge Bulk Material Handling, Jimmy Swiger. Jimmy?
Thank you, Molly, and good afternoon, everyone. We'll start off our presentation today to talk through just our brief agenda. We'll kind of start out with clearly showing all the products that pertains to the topic we're going to be discussing in the portfolio of products. We'll talk about options for choosing your conveyor design path, and first option, doing it via the Dodge Passport, which is a new on-demand online tool, and another option of actually utilizing the Dodge Bulk Material Handling team for conveyor design. And then we'll walk through an example of what this tool looks like within designing conveyors within the Dodge Passport tool. Just to give everybody an understanding of the products that we'll be talking about, specific to be within the ABB product portfolio, as you can see here, there's a visual of showing a manufacturing facility or a mine or quarry, paper mill, whatever it may be, but essentially where you have inbound power all the way through drives, controls, PLCs, motor control centers, electric motors, mechanical power transmission products, all the way to the motion-driven equipment, whether it be a conveyor, a pump, or a fan. All of the components in between are all can be part of the ABB product portfolio. And the focus of our discussion today will be mostly around the electric motors and mechanical power transmission products in the powertrain. Again, to clarify the products that we'll be discussing today, we look at the drive packages that would be included in a bulk material handling conveyor application. Some examples of those would be all the way from, you see on the far left, with a motor C-face to a shaft-mounted gearbox, specifically called our motorized torque arm product, driving a head pulley with shaft-mounted bearings and conveyor pulley as well. As we move to the right, there are belt-driven options. And they range, again, all the way from lower horsepowers, under 100 horsepower, all the way up to designs over 3,000 horsepower. And each one of these is going to require electric motors and couplings and belt drives as far as connecting equipment in order to drive your application. Additionally, as part of this are complete conveyor pulley assemblies. You can see these come in very wide ranges. The small, in the picture on the left, it offers a comparison in sizes. The smaller pulley is a 24-inch diameter by 38-inch face width conveyor pulley, going all the way up to the large pulley in the picture is a 72-inch by 84-inch conveyor pulley. So one might be going into an aggregate quarry in the U.S. and one might be going to a large copper mine in another part of the world. And then at the same time, you have the bushings, the shafts, and the mounted bearings as well to support the entire assembly. So a wide range of sizes that pertains to conveyor pulleys used in bulk material handling applications. The final piece would also be, that we're going to discuss today, would also be field services. And so, required field services in addition to, designing the application and having the right product portfolio, obviously being able to manufacture and assemble all the products, but once they get on site, being able to commission them by having people actually come out and check lubrication, check alignment, check fasteners for proper installation, checking guarding, and training the maintenance staff, making sure they know the products they have all the installation manuals, perform both vibration and temperature checks, both fully loaded and unloaded, to set benchmarks for long-term trending as well. I do have the capability to come back 6 months or a year later to do the same checks again and start establishing trends over time. But again, being able to go from designing the entire conveying system to manufacturing all the components, assembling them together, and then commissioning them at startup to make sure they've been installed correctly is all part of the discussion today. You know, with the individual products that are included in the portfolio, you know, a few things in regards to the Dodge mechanical power transmission product line is really focused around reliability, productivity, and helping our customers operate safely. So, you know, we are going to discuss our conveyor design experience here in just a minute, but that goes a long way in ensuring that you get the right products for the right application for what you needed to do. At the same time, we have a new tool we'll be talking about called Dodge Passport, which offers you know, you, our customer, with the fastest quote turnaround capability, and it's really such an intuitive and easy tool. It allows, you know, your employees, as you have new employees coming into your business, to quickly learn how conveyors work and how to design them. It's extremely easy to use, so ultimately it shortens the learning curve. You know, when you utilize gearboxes in your applications, you know, from a user standpoint, you want to ensure that you're extending your mean time between repairs as long as possible, and you know, utilizing larger bearings in that application with using the AGMA ratings of 5,000 hour L10 life on all the bearings is a design practice that Dodge is the only manufacturer that does that, and ultimately you're going to get the longest life in between repairs. At the same time, being able to get your components on and off the shaft easily. That's obviously a source of frustration for many people in maintenance today. And so utilizing a number of different patented shaft attachment methods for both mounted bearings and gearboxes gives users a great opportunity to minimize downtime during maintenance as needed. Additionally, sealing is something you always have to pay close attention to, both with the seal design and obviously the number of layers of protection, but also the materials, and using things like HMDR, you know, advanced materials to protect against harsh applications, both mounted bearings and gearboxes as well. You know, always keep in mind the advantages of having, you know, one manufacturer manufacture all the products and assemble them as well. Obviously, if you have top quality products that are all manufactured, it doesn't matter if they're not assembled correctly. So be able to minimize the on-site installation requirements also impacts, you know, the safety risk associated with possibly even having a third party do the installation for you, or your own employees having to install these components at startup. Keep in mind, backstops are always commonly used in bolt material handling applications. And when you have situations where lubrication with extreme pressure additives are used, not all backstops are compatible with the EP lubricants. That is one thing that's standardized with our heavy-duty gearboxes. The backstops we've designed are compatible. And also in today's world, you know, all rotating equipment has to be guarded and covered appropriately, whether it be mounted bearings or rotating shafts or belt drives. That's something that's part of the package we always ensure we're covered as best as we can. You know, moving to the different design paths, the options that you have as a user. You know, on the left-hand side, you see this column represented as, you know, on-demand conveyor design via Passport. And these are situations we're talking about aggregate quarries, you know, wood yards, sand and gravel applications. So, you know, lower horsepower, these are probably usually going to be up to, you know, 150 to 200 horsepower applications, under 800 PIW. Conveyor designs. And, you know, in these situations, we have launched a tool called the Dodge Passport, accessed from ptplace.com, that allows users to design their entire conveyors, get the entire bill of materials, and direct customers can actually get price and availability on demand at their fingertips at any point in time. So extremely effective tool that really anybody can learn very quickly, because it was really designed to be extremely intuitive. At the same time, not only do we want pricing, availability, and design to be fast for our customers in these applications, but we need product to be readily available too. And so in these situations, we'd put in assembly cells on site at our stocking locations that can ensure we are able to pick finished good products out of stock, assemble them on site at the warehouse, and ship them out as complete projects. And not only do you get pricing, availability, and design extremely fast through the online passport tool, but you get the product fast too by being able to ship fully assembled from our stocking locations. As I mentioned a second ago, Dodge Passport can be accessed from ppplace.com. Additionally, on the right-hand side, you see, designing conveyors through engineered projects, through our bulk material handling team at headquarters. And so in this scenario, these would be applications above 800 PIW, above 3,500 foot long conveyors. So usually higher horsepower, larger mining applications. And, in these scenarios, we have a team of engineers that have decades of conveyor design experience. And by our team designing the entire package, we would back it with a 3-year extended warranty for the complete package, assuming all of the components that were offered on the proposal were purchased. At the same time, there would be an adder for a field service package, a bulk material handling field service package would offer an additional year of warranty on the project. Because again, at this point in time, we have designed all the products, we've manufactured all the products, we've assembled all the products together. With the field service package, we've confirmed that all of the products have been installed correctly. To contact this team, the email address is there on the slide, us-bulk material handling at abb.com. The phone number is 864-297-8287, and we will review that later on again here in the presentation. But again, 2 clear paths to satisfy our user needs. If you need designs quick, you need product quick, the option on the left, you have access on demand, makes it extremely easy and intuitive for everybody to use. And for more advanced projects, we have a bulk material handling team ready to serve you. A little more detail you can see here for on-demand design via Passport. Again, fast quote and order entry. This takes you all the way through selection, pricing, availability, and order entry, where you can actually convert any quotes you do over to an order online if you're a direct customer. And again, utilizes gearbox assembly, conveyor pulley assembly, and complete conveyor package design as well. As I mentioned, fast shipping is available by being able to have on-site assembly at our stocking warehouses, where we can pick products quickly and then assemble them as part of the project and get them out the door. And ultimately, it offers you, the user, much easier and safer installation when a fully assembled drive and pulley package arrives at your door. Expanding further on the engineered projects via the bulk material handling team, this team it has a range of capabilities from conveyor engineering, designing the entire package and providing a technical proposal, all the technical details you would need, handling order entry, but also project management. So there's regular communication, no questions about when products or packages or projects are going to ship, and be able to offer field service capabilities as well, as we mentioned with startup commissioning. As parts of these package, you're utilizing a partner with decades of conveyor design, engineering design, and application expertise. Obviously, you have reputable manufacturers between Bowder Electric and ABB and Dodge mechanical power transmission products. And with that, you have one manufacturer with one extended warranty and one engineered package design. One manufacturer that you're partnering with to work on these projects together. Much easier from a minimizing logistical costs and on-site assembly requirements. And ultimately, it's going to provide you a faster engineered proposal. You'll be able to address quality assurance of the entire package to make sure all the components are assembled correctly, and it's going to help you at install too to ensure you're going to be able to operate safely. Additionally, in North America, we have an extensive network of direct sales engineers that can provide ongoing local support as needed as well. You know, when you look at it from the very beginning in the proposal stage of any bulk material handling project, going all the way through the order stage and delivery and follow-up and continuous improvement, you know, the capabilities that our team brings together really makes a difference in each one of these stages. From in the proposal phase, whether it's partnering with the bulk material handling team or utilizing the Passport online selection tool, you know, it really gives either the opportunity to partner with someone that has decades of conveyor expertise, or it's empowering your own employees to design their own conveyors. And if they're new to the industry, they can drastically shorten the learning curve of what it takes to design a conveyor. And we all know the amount of turnover that's occurring in our industry today, whether you're at an end user level or an OEM level or distributor or manufacturer, it's occurring everywhere. And the easier we can make this design process, the better. And this type of tool really makes it easier on everybody. You know, once the order comes through, being able to have one single point of contact to understand what's going on, and at the same time be able to manage the project and communicate regularly with you provides tremendous value. You know, upon delivery, when the customer gets the project, be able to have one extended warranty ultimately brings you peace of mind to be able to get fast factory assembled assemblies, be able to provide products out of stock with our on-site assembly at our stocking warehouses, and also be able to provide field service startup training and benchmarking for commissioning as well. As I mentioned, with an extensive network of field sales engineers across North America, you have all the ongoing local support that you may need as situations or training requirements come up. Now we're going to walk through an example of what the on-demand conveyor design via Passport looks like. And we're not able to walk through a live selection online, so we're going to walk through some screenshots so you can get an idea of what the selection tool and capabilities really look like. So just to review quickly, when you look at the overall capabilities, it's application-based with packaged product selection. So again, it's not going through just select individual products. It is designing a belt conveyor application and then packaging appropriate products across motors, gearboxes, belt drives, couplings, conveyor pulleys, bearings, and shafts as well. As much as possible, we use a visual guide to help everyone understand exactly what they're selecting and why they're selecting it. And again, make it as easy as possible. Utilize industry standard practices combined with our own institutional knowledge of belt conveying applications. So these would typically follow SEMA guidelines, the Conveyor Equipment Manufacturers Association. And, you know, Passport is going to make recommendations throughout the selection process to make the selection even easier for the user. With these, you can set preferences based upon your user profile. If there are certain design practices that you prefer or that you always use, then you can set those preferences in your profile, and it will come up that way every time. For example, if you have a certain service factor on gearboxes or belt drives that you always want to use, or a certain type of lagging on your conveyor pulleys, then you can set those in your preferences and use that every time. For direct customers, or sellable customers, you also have you can get complete net pricing for all components and converts your quote into an order on PT place. You know, the scope of this includes, as I mentioned, gearboxes, belt drives, conveyor pulleys that include mounted bearings and shafting, and also motors as well. It's going to include 7 different belt conveyor profiles that are the most popular. It is pre-populated with a number of different material characteristics that are customizable, and overall capability is about 3,500 tons per hour. Standard belt width up to 60-inch and 3,500 foot conveyor length with 25-degree angle of incline. Pulleys are about an 800 PIW limit, which is the SEMA pulley max, and the reducers around a 600 horsepower limit as well. So moving forward into what this pulley or this conveyor designer looks like, it starts with the profile of what you're looking like. So with each of these, you're going to see a drop-down selection menu to choose what type of conveyor profile you want to use. And so in this situation, you would click on, say, select conveyor profile, where you can see a visual of what you want to choose. So when you click on that, you can see the 7 different profiles, and moving across from a manual take-up to a manual take-up with a drive snub and a number of different options, even gravity take-ups as well. But again, you choose what type of profile that you would be using. And then move into the actual conveyor design. And so all of the inputs, as you see listed here, which not all of them are going to have to be selected, but they range from design capacity, or your tons per hour, your material density, depending on the type of material, the repose angle, maximum incline, the belt speed, and the belt width. And as you're going to see, there's some of this information that you have to have, and some of which we can calculate for you. If you start out with the material defaults, it's going to give you a list of default characteristics by material type. And you can click here under material if you don't know exactly what it might be, but if you want to click on select materials, and it's going to give you a list of examples. So for example, if this is in a conveyor at an aggregate quarry, you see there's a selection here in alphabetical order for aggregate, or it might be coal. As you can see, there's options listed for coal as well, or cement, or other options too. So, and it's going to already list out the density and repose angle and max incline for each of these materials. As you can see, the material classifications are going to give you, complete and consistent descriptions of what these classifications would be and would have an impact on your volumetric capacity calculation and your belt speeds. Some of the information that you may not necessarily need, and you can let the passport tool select it for you. But the belt conveyor designer can provide a recommendation for belt speed and belt width, targeting an 80% of SEMA volumetric capacity. So in these situations, if you put in all the other conveyor design parameters, it can select these for you. And quite often, it's very common that we have a number of customers that have used a certain speed or belt width in the past, just because that's the way they've always done it. And when they've gotten the passport, they realize that in many cases they may have been drastically, over designing their conveyors, and found excellent options to maybe use smaller sizes at time, or use a little bit faster belt speed. Again, it's always something that you can modify accordingly depending on what the needs of your application are. But again, the tool can do those calculations for you. Really, the next step, the actual conveyor dimensions. Here you have 4 different fields: the overall length of the conveyor, the lift, the angle of incline, and the conveyor length. As you see here, you need 2 of the 4 fields. You can input the 2, and obviously it can do some simple math to calculate what the other 2 are, and it'll do that automatically for you. So that's typically information that you're already going to have. Obviously, you can see here in the picture at the top that you can choose the units of measure, and that is a consistent theme throughout the conveyor design process, whether it's in metric or imperial units. You have the choice which one you want to use. But here you need just 2 out of the 4 of the conveyor dimensions. Also something to keep in mind as we go through this process, we're doing it for upfront conveyor design, but this is a very useful tool for using for troubleshooting as well. If you are in situations where an end user is having trouble with a given application, and trying to figure out what's going on. Well, a good starting place is working through the actual parameters of what's going on, whether it be tons per hour, and then you put in the conveyor dimensions and the overall speed. You can quickly figure out what size motors, gearboxes, and pulleys should be in this application and compare it versus what's actually out there in operation to try to diagnose where some of the problems might be. Moving forward to conveyor dimensions, you can see, again, we try to use visual representations as often as we can to make it easier to understand. At the same time, we are going to give you messages and recommendations as we go through. So here you're seeing a message for manual take-ups are not recommended for this given application. The conveyor is greater than 150 feet. It also gives you contact information if you have any questions. In this situation, you have an incline, so a backstop must be used on this conveyor. And you also see a warning because the incline exceeds the material maximum incline. Again, things that you can do, but we're going to at least warn you as far as the recommendations and what they would be as you go through the selection process. The next piece would be belt and skirt board options. Again, you have you would click on the question mark if you're not exactly sure what a belt plow is or a belt scraper is, and it can show you a quick picture of what that looks like. And so with that, you can determine the number of plows and scrapers, and obviously that's going to impact the power required in the application. Additionally, you have motor information options here. We have NEMA motors selected along with 60 hertz and the base speed as well. You can modify that accordingly. We're going to have standard bearing centers selected, which is going to be 16 inches over belt width, but you can modify that as needed. Again, we're also going to have a standard shaft deflection selected here as well, which can be modified. All right, so conveyor design results. When we get to the motor power, you have the ability to manually increase the motor size as needed. Ultimately, if the required power is greater than 90% of motor horsepower, then we're automatically going to go up one size in the motor. Keep going. The driven pulley information. The drive pulley selected is based upon the smallest size needed to meet the loading requirements. Additionally, our drive pulley selections are based on SEMA pulley sizes, so it can be manually adjusted upwards. But again, we're going to use the smallest size needed in order to meet the requirements that have been calculated up to this point. Also, the driven shaft diameter can be adjusted upwards at the pulley hub when you get to that point in the selection process. Again, these selections have already been made, but you do have that option to adjust accordingly depending on maybe other conveyor applications that already exist in your facility as well. But that selection will already be there for you. Driven shaft diameter can be adjusted upwards at the pulley hub. And also the driven shaft diameter can be turned down at the bearings, but the turn downs, the maximum we have is 25% of the diameter can be turned down is our recommendation. It's also going to offer recommendations for when those opportunities are available. At the same time, we're going to get into the gearbox selection piece now. When you get to these conveyor design results section, you'll see a box for choosing to skip the reducer selections if you don't need the reducer. But I get the standard option here is going to go straight into the selecting the reducer for your conveyor design. So with the reducer itself, we are going to automatically apply turn downs to try to minimize the gear reducer case size and the cost during design. So it's not something you want. You can modify that accordingly, but it's going to automatically select the max bore with AGMA standard option available. So again, just something to keep in mind regarding turndowns and the reducer and what's automatically done. Okay, we'll keep going down through here. In regards to accessories, we do have bushing kits available, along with backstops and various breather kits, tie rods as well, if it's a shaft mount reducer that you're using. So at this point, when you've selected all the conveyor design information and you selected the reducer and the motor, these types of accessories are automatically going to be selected for you based upon all the shaft sizes that have already been selected. Same thing with the backstop. As we saw earlier, the backstop was required for this application, so that will have already been selected for you as well. There are other accessories that can be selected too. So again, that was a brief overview of how to walk through one example. There's a lot more that we could walk through here if we had Passport in front of us, but ultimately you really get a true feature-rich customer experience that is application focused, but it's definitely intuitive enough that it's going to guide whether you're a new user or whether you're an advanced user. It's really going to easily guide you through the selection process. If you're a sellable customer, you have that option for real-time pricing availability right in front of you on demand. You can easily do side-by-side product comparisons within our portfolio of comparing different options. This gives you extremely fast selections of comparing whether it's a belt drive options or different types of bushing styles or accessories you might need. Then it gives you the option to design conveyors, save them, go back and bring them back up later on if you need to edit something. Typically the processes that we find is we're going to quote projects a number of different times for customers before an order is actually placed. So being able to go back and edit those old conveyor designs based upon what the new needs are is extremely valuable. So again, being able to go back and retrieve those and modify accordingly as needed really makes it easier on everybody. And ultimately, it's increased productivity for everyone when we have those types of capabilities. And at the same time, if you have designs that are out there and you have questions that you want to run by us, we can view your quotes if you'd like us to. If you'd like us to give us an inquiry number and we go in and take a look at it and talk about it with you or answer any questions, we can absolutely do that. But at the same time, be able to take that quote if you're a sellable customer and convert it into an order on our e-commerce website, ptplace.com, is extremely powerful. Saves any email back and forth or email and POs or phone calls or faxes or anything like that. And ultimately, the goal is being able to empower users throughout the sales cycle from selection to quote to the order. Circling back to where we started and just kind of recapping the conveyor design capabilities. When you look at belt conveyor applications that are under 800 PIW and aggregate sand and gravel woodyard conveyor applications, Passport offers on-demand conveyor design capability to be able to get pricing availability and place orders, and it puts it in the hands of not only ourselves or our inside sales staff, our field staff, but customers as well. You have that capability to do that, and especially if you're designing conveyors and you have multiple iterations, it makes it very, very easy to work through those different iterations on your own, very quick and relatively painless when you need to make a change. And at the same time, be able to support a fast conveyor design tool that provides pricing availability and order entry with being backed by quick lead times. So being able to pull finished goods from stock by having assembly cell capabilities at our stocking warehouse, to be able to ship complete projects fully assembled is of tremendous value to you as the customers. Less installation time that you're going to have to spend on site, and at the same time that the risk associated with performing those installations either by your own staff or third party. And again, Passport can be accessed from ptplace.com. Or, the other option is when you get, above 3,500 foot long belts or 800 PIW, these situations, larger mining applications, utilizing these engineered projects through our bulk material handling team and having our team, engineer the entire conveyor and being able to back the components with a 3-year extended warranty for the complete package. In addition to that, having a field service adder for commissioning of those components to ensure that now the products have been designed properly, they've been manufactured properly, they've been assembled properly, and now we know they've been installed properly as well as the commissioning. And again, this group can be reached at us-bulkmaterialhandling@abb.com, or phone number is 864-297-8287. So just to wrap up, my name is Jimmy Swiger, and again, I'm the General Product Manager for the bulk material handling business. My phone number and email address are on the screen. I've also included the email address and phone number of our bulk material handling team and product management. And again, a reminder that the Dodge Passport online conveyor design tool can be accessed at ptplace.com. So now we've kind of reviewed all the slides, and we will open up for any questions that may be out there. So give us just 1 second to review the questions that are out there.
Great. Thanks so much, Jimmy. And again, I would like to encourage all of the attendees who are here today, please make sure if you do have any questions, submit them now so we can have Jimmy address them while he's live with us today. If you do have a question that we don't or we're not able to get to, someone will follow up with you post-webinar. All right, so our first question here, and it sounds like this is something you may have just covered, but if I wanted a more detailed discussion regarding Dodge Passport and the bulk material handling team, who would I contact?
Well, thank you, Molly. Yeah, I think that the best place to start is either myself or the email address you see under the bulk material handling team on the screen. So my personal email address is there. Feel free to contact me, or the us-bulkmaterialhandling@abb.com. Either one of those is perfectly fine.
Great, thanks. Okay, and our next question, what are the design capabilities for the Passport versus one that I would utilize the bulk material handling team?
Yeah, I think one of the easiest ways to think about it is with Passport, applications at 800 PIW or below is where you'd use Passport. 3,500 tons per hour design capacity and below, you'd use Passport. 60-inch belt widths, standard belt widths, and below, you'd use Passport. When you get above there and the more custom conveyor profiles, above 800 PIW, belts longer than 3,500 feet, those are all situations where we'd want to run it through our bulk material handling team.
Great, okay, and our next question, can I modify Passport quotes that I have entered, and if so, how do I access them?
Yeah, with those, when you log in with your profile, with your username and password, you are going to be able to see any Passport inquiries that you have designed in the past. And so if you want to edit those and modify those, you can edit and modify them and save them accordingly with your account. But you'll see that as part of when you log in, you'll be able to see all the different inquiries that you've done in the past.
Great, okay, and it looks like this could be a related question. If I'm an authorized distributor, can I modify a Passport quote in order to send to my customer?
Yes, actually you can. There's a feature within Passport where you can do a personalized PDF where you can actually add your own company logo. You can modify pricing accordingly as well, according to what you would want to quote your end customer. And so you have that personalized PDF feature within Passport.
Great, okay. And can I enter an order for a Passport quote by myself, or do I need to come to ABB?
You can enter an order for a Passport quote by yourself. You can convert any inquiries that you enter into Passport into an order if you are a sellable customer. If you are not, then you would have to contact either us or our a local distributor for that option. So again, I think either one of those, you come to us or one of our local distributors in order to convert that to an order. But if you're a sellable customer, you can convert that to an order in PT Place.
Great, okay. And our next question, where is your stocking location?
Our largest stocking location is in Crossville, Tennessee, and that's where actually our assembly cells for stocking warehouse is actually located as well. We also have stocking locations in Dallas, Texas, and Reno, Nevada as well, but our largest one will be in Crossville, Tennessee.
Great, okay. And it looks like this may be our last question. Where are your manufacturing facilities?
Well, primarily our mechanical power transmission manufacturing facilities are going to be in the southeastern United States. So if you think of where Greenville, South Carolina is, which is in the upstate of South Carolina, about a 3-hour radius around there. So close to Charlotte, Atlanta, Greenville is where all of our manufacturing locations are. Now, Baldor Electric, you're going to have motor manufacturing plants stretching from call it Charlotte through Atlanta area. There's several motor plants. Also, when you go out to Arkansas, around Fort Smith, Arkansas, Ozarks, Mississippi, there are Baldor Electric or Baldor Reliance motor manufacturing plants as well.
Great. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the question and answer session right there. Thank you to all of our audience members for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.